I want to talk to you today, not as a preacher, not as a teacher, but as a friend who has been exactly where you are. Maybe you're watching this video right now feeling like life has left you behind. You look around and see others moving faster, going further, achieving bigger things, while you're stuck on the same level. If you've ever felt like time is slipping through your fingers, if you've ever questioned whether you're too late, this message is for you. Listen to me, you are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not lost. You are exactly where you need to be for the version of you that's about to be born. And today we're going to reignite the flame inside of you. Your timing is unique. It always has been and it always will be. You were never designed to arrive when everyone else did. Life isn't a bus stop where everybody boards at the same moment. It's more like an airport with different flights, different destinations, and different departure times. Some people may take off before you, but that doesn't mean your flight isn't scheduled. And when it takes off, it will reach heights you couldn't even imagine while you were sitting at the gate watching others leave. The problem with most people is they confuse movement with progress. Just because somebody is moving faster than you doesn't mean they're moving in the right direction. Some people are running in circles, chasing trends, chasing applause, chasing validation from people who don't even know themselves. Every day, people wake up and measure themselves against someone else's highlight reel. They scroll through social media, seeing carefully cropped pictures and perfectly written captions, and start believing the lie that everyone else is ahead, that they missed the boat, that their opportunity has expired. But what you see online is rarely the full truth. No one posts their lonely nights, their silent battles, their self-doubt. No one uploads pictures of their failures, their rejected applications, or their prayers that seemed unanswered. You are comparing your behind the scenes to someone's red carpet. That's not a fair comparison, and it was never meant to be. A tree planted in the desert and a tree planted in the rainforest will not grow at the same speed, but that doesn't mean one is less valuable than the other. Each one was designed to thrive in its own environment, at its own pace, for its own purpose. The oak tree takes years to mature, but when it does, it becomes a shelter for generations. A mushroom pops up overnight and vanishes by morning. Don't envy mushrooms when you were destined to be an oak. Great things take time because they must be built to last. Fast success is often fragile success. In life, your timing is not just about the external clock, it's about the internal preparation. Sometimes you think you're ready for what you want, but life knows you aren't ready for what's coming with it. You might be asking for the spotlight, but you haven't built the character to handle the heat. You might want the platform, but you lack the discipline to stay steady when the applause fades. So, life delays you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. It's building endurance in the hidden places, integrity in the quiet moments, and wisdom in your waiting season. If you ever watch a diamond being made, you'll realize it's not an instant process. It happens under intense pressure and heat, buried deep in darkness. No one sees it. No one celebrates it. No one applauds it. But when the time is right, it surfaces and its brilliance outshines everything around it. That's your life. Right now, you might feel buried. You might feel overlooked. You might feel behind. But you are not buried, you're being planted. There's a difference. Buried means forgotten. Planted means prepared. You don't have to follow anyone else's schedule. The world will try to convince you that by 25 you should have this, by 30 you should be there, by 40 you should have achieved that. But who wrote those rules? Who decided that your success must be on their timetable? The most dangerous thing you can do is rush a season you were meant to grow in. Rushing leads to ruin. Premature promotion is a setup for public embarrassment. When you move before your time, you will crash before your prime. Real growth happens in obscurity. Seeds don't sprout on the surface, they break through in the soil. The longer it takes, the stronger the roots. And it's the roots that sustain you when the winds of life come. That's why some people blow up overnight and disappear just as fast. No roots. They built a life on followers, likes, and external praise, but not on character, discipline, or purpose. And when storms hit, because storms will hit, they have nothing to keep them grounded. There's a beauty in being the late bloomer. Because while others are chasing noise, you're developing depth. While others are chasing attention, you're developing authenticity. While others are rushing for recognition, you're becoming resilient. And when your moment arrives, not if, but when, you'll realize it wasn't late at all. It was right on time. because it came when you were fully equipped, fully mature, fully steady. And what took others 1 year to accomplish, you'll do in 1 month, because you weren't moving for approval. You were moving in alignment. Never let someone else's timing dictate your worth. Their lane is not your lane. Their assignment is not your assignment. And their clock is not your clock. Stay planted. Stay prepared. Stay patient. Because when it's your time, you won't have to beg for it, fight for it, or rush to hold on to it. It will come naturally, it will feel right, and it will last. Because what's built in pressure, in patience, and in purpose can never be taken away by public opinion. Delay is not denial. Most people don't realize it, but some of the greatest breakthroughs in history came after seasons of waiting, of delay, of apparent silence. We've been conditioned by the world to believe that if something doesn't happen immediately, it's not meant to be. That if you don't get the job today, if you don't achieve the goal this month, if your relationship isn't perfect right now, then maybe it was never supposed to happen. But that's a lie society sold you to keep you trapped in impatience and frustration. Delay doesn't mean it's denied. It means there's something being prepared behind the scenes that you can't see yet, something greater than what you were expecting. Think about it like this. When you place an order at a restaurant, sometimes the dishes you really crave take longer to prepare. A fast, greasy burger might hit your table in 5 minutes, but a carefully cooked, perfectly seasoned steak takes time. While you're waiting, you might see servers bringing out other people's plates, and for a moment you're tempted to feel frustrated. You wonder why everyone else is being served before you, but you don't realize your meal is being handled with extra care in the kitchen, because what you ordered requires a higher level of attention. That's your life right now. The reason your breakthrough is taking longer is because what you've asked for, what you've envisioned, what's been destined for you, it requires custom preparation. Every delay in your life was a protective mechanism. Some doors you thought you wanted to walk through would have destroyed you. Some relationships you cried over when they ended would have suffocated your growth. Some opportunities you chased would have been cages disguised as blessings, but you couldn't see it at the time. From where you stood, it felt like rejection. From life's perspective, it was redirection. Delay is life's way of sparing you from what you thought you needed and preserving you for what you're truly destined for. Look at the natural world. A seed planted in fertile soil takes weeks, sometimes months, to even break through the surface. Beneath the soil is developing roots, expanding in strength, gathering nutrients, anchoring itself for the growth that's coming. No one walks past a field and gets angry at the seeds for not sprouting overnight. But in our lives, we get frustrated when results don't appear on our schedule. The truth is, the delay is making you. It's teaching you patience, sharpening your character, developing your resilience, building your wisdom, and stretching your faith. Because when the time comes, when you finally rise above the soil, you'll be able to withstand storms because you didn't rush the process. One of the most dangerous lies people tell themselves is that if it hasn't happened by now, it never will. But history is filled with stories of people who bloomed later than expected, people who waited, endured seasons of obscurity, suffered public failure, only to rise in ways no one could have predicted. Colonel Sanders started KFC at the age of 65 after countless failures. Vera Wang didn't design her first wedding dress until she was 40. Morgan Freeman didn't land his breakout film role until he was 52. Every one of them faced delay. Every one of them faced moments where it looked like denial, but it wasn't. It was preparation. And you know what's wild? Sometimes the delay isn't about you at all. It's about the people connected to your destiny. The delay happens because the stage you're meant to step onto isn't ready yet. The audience that needs your voice isn't assembled yet. The opportunities that match your potential haven't matured yet. Life is positioning everything so that when you arrive, it all aligns perfectly. Imagine arriving too early to a party where no one's ready for you. You'd stand awkwardly in the corner, out of place, out of time. That's what happens when people rush destiny. But when you wait, when you trust the process, you step into rooms where you belong, surrounded by people who were waiting for you. Delay strengthens your appreciation. When you finally receive what you've prayed for, dreamed of, and worked towards, you cherish it more because you know what it cost you. You value it because you remember the lonely nights, the countless sacrifices, the tears, the doubts you had to push through. That level of gratitude makes you a good steward of your blessings. What comes easy is often taken for granted. What comes after delay is respected, protected, and multiplied. Delay also reveals what you truly desire. Sometimes when something takes longer than expected, you begin to question whether it's what you really wanted in the first place. And that's a good thing. Because in the waiting, you either let go of temporary cravings or you develop deeper conviction. You either move on or you become more resolved. It filters out shallow dreams from authentic, life-altering visions. It forces you to clarify your intentions and purify your motives. If you're still chasing it after the delay, that means it's rooted in your purpose, not just in your pride. So when you find yourself in a season of delay, don't waste it by complaining or comparing. Use it to learn, to sharpen your craft, to build your mind, to gather wisdom. Use it to test your faith, to strengthen your emotional discipline, to prepare your spirit for what's coming. Because when the delay is over, and it will end, you won't be the same person who started the wait. You'll be wiser, tougher, sharper, and more grateful. You'll step into your season not as a desperate survivor, but as a confident contender, fully prepared to carry what's been waiting for you. Time is a tool, not a trap. The problem with so many of us is that we've been conditioned to believe that time is this invisible enemy chasing us down, reminding us of everything we haven't done yet, everything we should have achieved by now, every milestone we're supposed to reach according to someone else's timeline. But that's a dangerous way to live, because the moment you treat time like a prison, you stop recognizing it as the gift it really is. Time was never meant to trap you. It was meant to train you, to mold you, to develop you, to sharpen you for your unique assignment on this earth. The world will hand you these invisible deadlines. By 25, you should have this. By 30, you should be there. By 40, you should have built this. And when you don't meet those invisible marks, you start panicking as if your life is somehow expired. But who told you that? Who set those rules? Who decided what you should have achieved by now? The truth is, much of what stresses people out about time is nothing but pressure created by comparison. You see someone else accomplishing something at a certain age, and you start feeling like you're behind, not because you're actually behind, but because you've let their clock become yours. And if you keep living that way, you'll die exhausted, chasing goals that were never yours in the first place. I've seen people break down because they thought they were too late to become successful. But let me tell you something. As long as you have breath in your lungs and a mind that can think, you are not late. You're not trapped by the years you think you've wasted. Time isn't holding you hostage, it's offering you a lesson. Every delay, every setback, every detour you thought wasted your time was actually teaching you something. Some lessons can't be rushed. Some wisdom requires seasons of silence. Some breakthroughs demand preparation, and preparation takes time. Let's be real. Some of you are wishing for a breakthrough you haven't even built the character to handle. You're asking for opportunities you haven't disciplined yourself for. If life handed you what you're praying for right now, you'd fumble it because you haven't been through enough to manage it. That's why time is a tool. It's giving you a chance to develop, to become the kind of person who can handle the weight of what you're asking for. It's not denying you, it's disciplining you. Have you ever noticed how a skilled chef doesn't rush a masterpiece? Sure, you can grab a microwave meal and have it in 2 minutes, but that's not food you'll remember. That's not a meal worth savoring. But the dishes that stay with you, the ones you talk about years later, they took time. They simmered, marinated, developed layers of flavor. Your life is the same. You don't want to be a fast, forgettable moment. You were made to be a lasting impact, and that takes time. And here's what most people won't tell you: time in itself is neutral. It's not against you or for you. It simply reveals what you do with it. The same 24 hours that someone else used to build their empire are the same 24 hours you woke up with this morning. The difference isn't in the clock, it's in the choices. Time doesn't trap people. Procrastination does. Fear does. Doubt does. Excuses do. Time just exposes who's using it and who's wasting it. When you change your relationship with time, you'll stop feeling behind and start feeling empowered. You'll realize that every day you wake up is another tool, another opportunity, another blank canvas. What are you painting on yours? Are you spending it scrolling through other people's lives? Or are you investing it in sharpening your mind, nurturing your spirit, mastering your craft? Because the truth is, Every minute you waste wishing you had more time is a minute you could be using to build something meaningful. And don't ever let anybody rush you into their pace. There are people moving fast but headed nowhere. The world glorifies hustle, but what's the point of running full speed in the wrong direction? The real power comes when you move intentionally, when you realize that time is on your side, when you know how to use it. It's like holding a sharp knife. It can either cut you or carve out your future. The difference is in how you handle it. I've watched people in their 60s start businesses, learn new skills, write books, fall in love, travel the world. And I've seen people in their 20s paralyzed by the belief that it's too late. Time is perception. It bends and stretches according to the stories you tell yourself about it. The person who believes they still have time left will live differently than the one who thinks it's all over. So ask yourself, what's the story you're telling yourself about your time? Because that story will become the script for your life. Time isn't your enemy, it's your instructor. It teaches you who's real, what matters, what's worth fighting for, what to let go of, and most importantly, it teaches you about yourself. It strips away the superficial and exposes the core. And when you start viewing time as a tool, you'll begin to appreciate every moment, not as a reminder of what you lack, but as a resource you can use to build, to heal, to grow, to create, to rise. Comparison is the thief of destiny. It silently creeps in unnoticed, harmless at first, like a whisper in your ear. It starts when you glance at someone's new car, someone's house, someone's relationship, someone's success, someone's appearance, someone's achievements. And before you realize it, you've shifted your focus from your own lane to theirs. The moment you start measuring your life against another person's progress, you forfeit the power to appreciate your own. Comparison is not just toxic, it's paralyzing. It steals your peace, distorts your vision, and robs you of the joy in your unique journey. You see, destiny was never designed to be duplicated. Your path was tailored for you. Your setbacks, your triumphs, your lessons, your talents, no one else has your fingerprint, and no one else is supposed to. But when you spend your energy comparing, you start treating someone else's assignment like it was meant for you. You begin to crave their opportunities, their applause, their position, their lifestyle without understanding the cost they paid to stand where they are. Because every crown has a weight. Every success has a backstory. And often, the parts of people's lives you envy are built on sacrifices you're not even aware of. I've seen it too many times. People who destroy their potential not because they weren't gifted, not because they weren't called, but because they couldn't keep their eyes on their own lane. Think about a runner on a track. The moment he turns his head to check the position of the other runners, he slows down. It's not even the other runners that beat him. It's his divided focus that costs him the race. Life works the same way. The time you spend watching others, envying others, questioning why their life looks smoother, easier, better, that's time you could have used developing your own gift, mastering your own assignment, building your own legacy. And let's be honest, comparison is rarely fair. We compare the worst of ourselves to the best of others. You compare your weaknesses to their strengths. You compare your behind the scenes struggles to their highlight reels. You compare your chapter 2 to their chapter 15. And you end up convincing yourself that you're behind, that you're unworthy, that you're losing. But here's the truth. You don't know what battles they're fighting in private. You don't know the nights they cried themselves to sleep. You don't know the fears they wrestle with at 3 a.m. While the world sleeps, what you see is what they allow you to see. And what they show you is carefully edited for approval. Comparison also blinds you to your own blessings. You'll start ignoring your own victories because you've decided they're too small when placed beside someone else's. You'll dismiss your growth because it doesn't look like theirs. You'll forget how far you've come because you're too busy obsessing over how far someone else seems ahead. And in doing so, you rob yourself of gratitude. And where gratitude dies, bitterness grows. It festers. It poisons your joy, your ambition, your spirit. A mango tree doesn't look at a coconut tree and complain, why am I not taller? A river doesn't envy the ocean for its vastness. Nature has no interest in comparison because everything in nature understands one truth: purpose is not competitive. The sun doesn't outshine the moon because the moon was never created to light the day. Both serve their role. Both matter in their time. And you, with your unique voice, your specific story, your set of scars and gifts, you matter too. not as a copy of someone else, not as a shadow of their path, but as an original masterpiece, a design so precise that heaven itself signed off on it. The problem with comparison is it makes you question your worth based on someone else's stage of life. You begin to think, I should be married by now. I should have my business established by now. I should be driving that car, living in that house, earning that income. And in doing so, you reduce your value to temporary markers of success that don't define true fulfillment. Because here's a reality many learn too late. You can win the comparison game and still lose in life. You can gather the applause, the followers, the money, and still feel empty because none of those things were meant to validate your existence. One of the most liberating decisions you'll ever make is to release yourself from the prison of comparison. To look at your own reflection and say, I am enough as I am. I am on time for my life. I am walking a path no one else can walk. I will celebrate others without envying them. I will applaud their victories without resenting my own pace. That mindset makes you unstoppable. Because when your eyes stay forward, when your heart stays grateful, when your spirit stays focused on growth, comparison loses its grip on you. Life is not a competition, it's a contribution. You weren't sent here to outpace your neighbor. You were sent to deliver what only you carry. And when you finally understand that, you'll stop looking sideways and start looking inward. You'll realize your peace was never lost. It was buried under layers of unnecessary comparison. Dig it out, dust it off, own your race, run your lane. Because what's meant for you will find you, not when you chase others, but when you chase purpose. Your potential is unlimited. The tragedy is most people will live and die without ever scratching the surface of what they're truly capable of. Not because they weren't gifted, not because opportunity never knocked, but because somewhere along the way they started believing the limits others placed on them. They allowed the small-minded opinions of people who couldn't see their vision to shrink their belief in themselves. They were told, that's impossible for someone like you. And instead of questioning the limitation, they accepted it as fact. But let me tell you something, nobody has the authority to define your limits except the one who created you, and that voice is the only one that matters. Your potential is not tied to your background. It's not confined by your age. It's not dependent on your education, your connections, or your resources. It's buried deep inside you, waiting to be unlocked. The problem is, most people never dig deep enough. They settle for what's comfortable. They do what's expected. They become what's familiar. They accept average because it requires less risk. But everything extraordinary in life exists just beyond what's easy. Growth doesn't happen in safety zones. Potential isn't found in convenience. It reveals itself when you step into uncertainty, when you say yes to the thing that scares you, when you walk through doors you feel unqualified to enter. I've met people working jobs they hate, not because they lack talent or ambition, but because at some point someone convinced them that pursuing their true calling was unrealistic. They were told to be practical, to play it safe, to lower their expectations. And so year after year they shrink their dreams to fit the small box others built for them. They silence their own voice so they don't disrupt the noise of the crowd. They bury their ideas, their inventions, their songs, their stories, their visions. Not because those things weren't worthy, but because fear of failure kept them imprisoned. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of standing alone. But the truth is the people who change the world are always the ones willing to be misunderstood. Your potential is not a one-time burst of greatness. It's a well that runs deeper than you know. The more you draw from it, the more it reveals. It expands when tested. It grows under pressure. It thrives in adversity. Diamonds aren't made in open fields under perfect skies. They're forged deep in the earth under crushing weight and intense heat. The trials you despise, the seasons you thought were breaking you, they're actually building you. Every setback carries a lesson. Every delay hides a preparation. Every failure is a classroom where potential is trained. Think of the eagle, one of the most powerful creatures in the sky. An eagle's wingspan can stretch up to 8 feet, allowing it to soar at heights other birds can't survive. But here's what's fascinating, an eagle doesn't avoid the storm. It uses it. While other birds flee from the coming winds, the eagle locks its wings, positions itself, and lets the force of the storm lift it higher. It rides the turbulence others run from. That's how potential works. The very situations you're tempted to escape are the ones designed to reveal your strength. It's in the struggle that you discover what you're really made of. And don't you dare let your current surroundings deceive you into thinking you're stuck. You might be in a small town, a crowded house, a dead-end job, a difficult season. But your potential isn't confined by your environment. History is filled with names of people who rose from obscurity. People who started with nothing but a relentless belief in the unseen. They refused to be labeled by their circumstances. They saw beyond what was in front of them and moved like their future was already theirs. That's the kind of audacity you need. Not arrogance, but audacity. The boldness to believe that your future doesn't have to look like your past. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting for everyone to agree with your vision. Stop waiting for fear to leave. It won't. Move anyway. Start anyway. Build anyway. The people who accomplish the unthinkable are not the ones who felt the most confident. They're the ones who decided their purpose was bigger than their excuses. They understood that potential wasted is potential lost forever. The richest place on earth isn't the oil fields or the diamond mines. It's the graveyard, full of ideas never pursued, books never written, businesses never started, songs never sung, speeches never delivered. Your life is a gift, and your potential is the proof. Every day you wake up is evidence that there's more inside you to give, more to create, more to heal, more to lead, more to teach. You haven't even met the strongest, wisest, most capable version of yourself yet. That version isn't unlocked by ease. It's unlocked by effort. By choosing discipline over distraction, purpose over comfort, growth over fear. And when you finally decide to stop living like you're limited, you'll realize you were never in competition with anyone else. The only race that ever mattered was between the person you were and the person you're becoming. Purpose protects you. It shields you from the traps that look like opportunities, from people who come dressed as supporters but are secretly saboteurs, from situations that seem like blessings but are actually distractions. When you know your purpose, you don't chase everything that glitters. You don't run after every open door because you understand that not every door is meant to be walked through. Some doors are detours. Some doors are setups. Some doors lead to places that look good now, but would destroy what you're carrying on the inside if you step through them too soon. Purpose becomes your personal filter. It decides what deserves your yes and what demands your no. How many times in life have you found yourself heartbroken over something that didn't work out? You were certain that job was the one. You believed that relationship was forever. You thought that deal was going to be your breakthrough. And when it fell apart, you questioned yourself, you doubted your worth, you cried yourself to sleep thinking life was against you. But what you didn't realize at the time was that purpose was quietly intervening. It was saying, not this way, not this time, not this person. Because what you couldn't see was what waited on the other side of that opportunity. What looked good on the outside was rotten on the inside. Life is full of people chasing applause, chasing money, chasing fame, chasing approval, and then wondering why, when they get those things, they still feel empty. That's what happens when you pursue what looks good instead of what's aligned with your purpose. Purpose will keep you out of rooms you don't belong in. It'll protect you from people whose energy would contaminate your vision. It'll save you from platforms your character isn't ready to handle yet. It knows when you're mature enough to manage certain blessings, and it knows when those very things would turn into curses because you skipped the preparation. I've seen people chase positions because it made them feel important, only to discover that the responsibility crushed them because they weren't prepared. I've seen people jump into relationships because they were afraid of being alone, only to have their peace stolen and their focus shattered because the person they attached themselves to wasn't aligned with where life was taking them. I've watched people take fast money and quick fame, only to lose themselves in addictions, scandals, and depression because what they thought was a blessing was actually a distraction dressed up in opportunity. Purpose would have protected them. Purpose would have whispered, wait, build, learn, grow, trust. There's something about a person who understands their purpose. They walk differently. They make decisions differently. They aren't desperate. They aren't easily impressed. They aren't swayed by every trend or seduced by every offer. They have a filter that most people don't. Not because they're arrogant, but because they recognize that every yes carries a consequence. Every opportunity comes with a price. And if it costs you your peace, your integrity, your authenticity, or your destiny, It's too expensive. Have you ever noticed how some people can be surrounded by chaos, yet they stay grounded? They can be under pressure, yet they don't panic. That's not luck. That's purpose. Purpose keeps you anchored when life tries to toss you around. It reminds you why you started when you feel like quitting. It protects your mind from distractions. It silences the opinions of people who don't understand your assignment. It gives you the strength to walk away from what you want now for what you know you'll need later. Even in failure, purpose protects you because it teaches you through loss. It lets you fall in controlled environments so you can learn lessons without losing your soul. It exposes fake friends before they can sabotage you on a larger stage. It allows doors to close before you get addicted to the wrong rooms. It gives you just enough success to build your confidence and just enough setbacks to keep you humble. It's a balance, a shield, a compass. And the beautiful thing is, purpose isn't something you have to manufacture. It's something you uncover. It's been inside you since the moment you were born. The problem is, most people get so distracted by chasing what others have that they never take time to discover their own. They get caught up in competition, in seeking validation, in comparing journeys, and they lose sight of what was placed inside them before the foundation of the world. When you live according to your purpose, you begin to realize that rejection is protection. That closed doors are divine detours. That delay isn't denial, it's development. You stop mourning what you lost because you understand it wasn't meant for you. You stop being bitter about who left because you realize they couldn't handle the next chapter of your story. Purpose is like armor. It may not keep you from every storm, but it'll make sure you come out of it wiser, stronger, and more focused than you were when you entered. And in the end, you'll look back and thank life for every no, every delay, every heartbreak, because purpose was protecting you the entire time. You were born for this moment. Not by accident, not by coincidence, not by some random alignment of circumstances. You arrived here because this exact moment, this season of your life, with all its challenges, uncertainties, obstacles, and opportunities, was made for you. It carries your name, your DNA, your assignment. You weren't born in another century. You weren't planted in another generation because the world didn't need you then. It needs you now. It needs your voice, your mind, your resilience, your perspective, your passion, and your courage right here, right now. So many people walk through life believing they're insignificant because their name isn't in lights, because they aren't sitting at tables of power, because their phone isn't ringing with big offers, or because no one's clapping when they enter a room. They equate visibility with value. But the truth is, you don't have to be famous to be necessary. You don't have to be loud to be powerful. You don't have to be known by millions to impact one life in a way that alters everything. And sometimes that one life you impact is your own. That's the starting point. Realizing that if you woke up today, life was asking you for one more move. You were born for this moment, the one you're standing in now. The moment where it feels like you're stretched thin, like you're fighting battles no one sees, carrying burdens you don't talk about, questioning whether you have what it takes. This is not the end of you. This is the making of you. It's in these moments where history is quietly written, where destiny is decided in the choices nobody claps for. Every great story has a chapter of struggle, of doubt, of isolation. And while others might overlook you now, while you may feel invisible in rooms where you thought you'd be celebrated, understand this: greatness grows in silence. A tree doesn't shout while it's growing. The seed breaks underground, unseen, unnoticed, unheard. It faces darkness, pressure, and resistance, but it keeps pushing. And eventually, when the timing is right, it breaks through the soil, not as a seed, but as a force of nature. That's your life. You've been underground, developing roots, gathering strength, collecting wisdom. You've faced disappointments that tried to crush you. You've walked through storms that tried to drown you. You've endured loneliness that tried to break your spirit. But you're still here. You're still breathing. And that alone means you're undefeated. You were born for this moment, to navigate what others would have crumbled under, to rise where others ran, to endure the nights that felt endless. You might not realize it yet, but you've been carrying resilience in your bloodline, strength in your bones, fire in your soul. Life didn't give you these challenges because it underestimated you. It gave them to you because it recognized what was buried inside you. Potential you haven't even met yet. Strength you haven't had to access until now. And what's remarkable is, it's already in you. You don't have to borrow courage. You don't have to lease bravery. It's coded in your spirit. You were born for this moment, not just to survive it, but to master it. To look at everything stacked against you and still decide, I'm not done yet. To stand in rooms where no one believes in you and still believe in yourself. To face odds that make no sense on paper and still walk like it's already won. That's not arrogance. That's awareness. That's knowing who you are, and more importantly, why you're here. Because the truth is, this moment isn't just about you. It's about the people connected to you. The ones watching you, silently hoping you don't give up, because if you can make it, maybe they can too. It's about the generation coming behind you who need to hear your story one day. Not the polished, Instagram filtered version, but the raw, unedited battle, worn testimony of how you made it through what tried to break you. You were born for this moment, for this crisis, for this crossroad, for this exact chapter of your story. And I know sometimes you wish it were easier. I know you wish you didn't have to be the strong one all the time. I know you wish the breaks came sooner, the applause louder, the battles fewer. But life didn't choose you for comfort. It chose you for impact, and impact comes with a price. It comes with weight. It comes with lonely seasons. It comes with silent victories. It comes with nights when your only motivation is remembering that quitting would mean forfeiting everything you were born to do. And don't confuse delayed recognition with diminished value. Because the world hasn't crowned you yet doesn't mean you aren't royalty. The crown is internal before it's ever external. The power is private before it's ever public. You carry something this moment requires. Your perspective, your strength, your wisdom earned through pain, your ability to see light when others only see dark. You weren't sent here by accident, and you weren't born to fade into the background. You were born to shift atmospheres, to speak life into dead places, to carry resilience into weary spaces. You were born to stand in the fire and not burn. You still have time. Even if the world has tried to convince you otherwise. Even if your friends seem miles ahead. Even if you feel like you've missed too many opportunities. Even if your heart is heavy with regrets over what you should have started, should have said, should have done. You still have time. And not just scraps of it, not leftover minutes that don't matter, but real, meaningful, powerful time that can change the course of your life if you decide to stop wasting it on guilt, on comparison, on fear, and on conversations with people who don't even have the courage to chase their own dreams. Life isn't a one-lap race. It's a marathon, and every single person's pace is different. Some people sprint early, some crawl for years, and some don't even realize they're in a race until they're halfway through their lives. And guess what? That's okay. Because you still have time. You're not too old to start over. You're not too late to change direction. You're not too broken to heal. You're not too far gone to be restored. As long as you have breath, you have options. And as long as you have options, you have time. We live in a culture obsessed with speed. Fast money, fast fame, fast results. We celebrate the overnight success stories while ignoring the years of silent work that made those overnights possible. And because of that, we end up thinking that if it doesn't happen fast, it'll never happen at all. That if we don't have it by 25, by 30, by 40, then somehow we've failed. But let me tell you something, you cannot rush a masterpiece. The oak tree takes decades to become a shelter for generations. The diamond takes years of crushing pressure to be formed. The sun rises slowly before it dominates the sky. And so it is with you. You still have time to finish what you started. That book you left half written. That dream you buried under practicality. That business idea you talked yourself out of. That healing you postponed because you were too busy surviving. You still have time to become the person you swore you'd be when you were younger, before life distracted you with bills and heartbreaks and responsibilities you never asked for. You still have time to break generational cycles, to be the first in your family to think differently, to live differently, to lead differently. Think of the people who started later than everyone else and still made history. Grandma Moses didn't start painting until she was in her 70s, yet her work hangs in some of the world's most prestigious museums. Ray Kroc was over 50 when he turned a small burger joint into McDonald's. Stan Lee created his first hit comic book at nearly 40. These people aren't exceptions. They are reminders. Reminders that you still have time. That life honors persistence over perfection. That consistency beats speed. That showing up daily, even if you're limping, matters. You still have time to forgive people who don't even know they hurt you. Not for their peace, but for your own. To release grudges you've carried like bricks in your chest for years. You still have time to apologize to the ones you let down. To repair relationships worth saving. To say the words you never said. You still have time to heal from things you never admitted broke you. To look your trauma in the face and tell it, you don't get to run my life anymore. You still have time to fall in love again. Not just with people, but with your own reflection, your own mind, your own wild ideas that make your heart race. You still have time to reinvent yourself, to walk away from environments that drain you, to break habits that sabotage you, to build new routines, new friendships, new beliefs about what's possible for you. You still have time to make peace with your past and walk into your future unburdened. The story you've told yourself about being behind, it's a lie. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to learn what you need to learn so you can carry what's coming next. And even if you wasted years, even if you lost time chasing things and people and pleasures that left you empty, redemption isn't on a clock. Restoration isn't bound by calendars. Some of the greatest comebacks happen after the world has stopped watching. Some of the deepest healings happen in secret, in moments when no one's clapping, no one's calling, no one's paying attention. And when your moment comes, when your time arrives, because you'll realize it didn't matter how long it took. All that matters is that you didn't quit. You still have time to become extraordinary, to stop living on autopilot, to break the cycle of waiting for the right moment. Because the truth is, the right moment is whatever moment you decide to move. Whatever day you decide enough is enough. Whatever hour you decide your past won't have the final word. Whatever minute you choose to believe you were made for more than survival. Every day you wake up is proof you still have time to fight, to build, to rise, to rewrite the story you almost let defeat you. Pressure produces power. It's one of life's unshakable, undeniable laws. The very thing you think is trying to crush you is actually trying to create you. The weight that feels unbearable, the tension you didn't ask for, the resistance you wish would ease up, all of it is forging a version of you that you haven't even met yet. Power is never born in comfort zones. Strength is never developed in easy seasons. Diamonds aren't made on the surface, and neither is destiny. Look around in nature and you'll see this principle everywhere. Coal under immense pressure becomes a diamond. An olive, when crushed, releases precious oil. Grapes under pressure produce wine. Even water, when contained and pressured through narrow spaces, becomes a force strong enough to carve valleys and power entire cities. And if pressure can transform coal, if it can turn ordinary elements into forces of power and beauty, what makes you think it can't do the same for you? The problem is, most people run from pressure. They avoid it. They curse it. They complain about it. They think it's life's way of punishing them, when in reality, it's life's way of promoting them. Pressure is the training ground of champions. It's the place where average people quit and leaders rise. It's where those who are content with mediocrity bow out, and those destined for greatness find out what they're made of. Pressure isn't proof that you're weak. It's proof that you're carrying something heavy enough to be tested. You don't pressure empty vessels. You don't test things that have no value. The presence of pressure is evidence of potential. The struggle you're feeling isn't a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're close to breaking through. You're on the edge of discovering power you didn't even know you possessed. I've seen it with my own eyes. People in the middle of breakdown moments who didn't realize those were actually breakthrough moments disguised as hardship. The man who lost his job and thought it was over, only to start a business that fed his family and changed his entire future. The woman who had her heart shattered, only to discover her worth wasn't tied to the person who left, but to the purpose within her. The young man told he'd never make it out of his environment, now standing as a symbol of what's possible when pressure meets persistence. Pressure exposes what's real and what's fake. It reveals who's truly with you and who was only there for the spotlight. It strips away excuses and forces you to find solutions. It pulls out the hidden strength you didn't think you had. When everything's easy, you can fool yourself into thinking you're strong. But when pressure hits, the truth comes out. And that's a blessing in disguise because it gives you a chance to build what's real. Have you ever watched how a sword is made? A blade isn't born sharp and strong. It starts as raw, unshaped metal. And to become a weapon capable of withstanding battle, it's subjected to fire and hammered repeatedly. It's placed under unbearable heat, bent, stretched, struck, and cooled. And with every round of pressure, it becomes stronger, more refined, more dangerous to anything that dares to come against it. That's what life's doing to you. Every trial, every setback, every betrayal, every sleepless night, it's the hammer shaping you, the fire forging you, the pressure producing power. Some of the most powerful leaders, thinkers, creators, and visionaries weren't born with privilege. They were born in pressure. They came from places where the odds were stacked against them. They grew up hearing they'd never make it. They faced obstacles that should have buried them. But instead of folding under the weight, they found a way to stand. And in standing, they discovered power. And here's the thing. Pressure teaches you what books and seminars never will. It teaches you about yourself, about your limits, about your triggers, about your resilience. It forces you to confront your fears, face your insecurities, and fight battles you've been avoiding. It doesn't give you the luxury of pretending. It demands your attention. It demands your best. Pressure has a way of stripping life down to what actually matters. When you're under pressure, petty drama stops mattering. Shallow conversations fade. Fake friendships get exposed. It forces you to focus, to simplify, to prioritize what's worth your energy. And in doing so, it positions you to rise. Pressure also builds empathy, because once you've been crushed, once you've been stretched to your breaking point and survived, you'll never look at another struggling person the same way. You'll have compassion because you've been there. You'll be able to speak life into someone else's darkness because you remember what it felt like. That's how pressure doesn't just produce power. It produces leaders. Every great invention, every life-changing idea, every movement that shifted the world was born under pressure. People don't create comfort zones. They create when their backs are against the wall, when they're told it's impossible, when no one else believes it can be done. That's when the human spirit kicks in and something extraordinary is born. And you, right now, under all that pressure, you're in the middle of a creation moment. The weight you feel isn't punishment. It's the pressure of purpose. The pressure of potential being pushed out of you because average is too small for your life. It's not over until you win. Life will do its best to convince you otherwise. Circumstances will rise against you. People will doubt you. Fear will whisper in your ear at 3 a.m. telling you to quit, to settle, to stop dreaming so big, because maybe it's just not meant for you. But let me tell you something. It's not over until you win. As long as you have breath in your lungs and a flicker of fire in your spirit, you are still in the fight. The scoreboard doesn't determine the outcome until the final whistle blows. And in the game of life, you decide when that whistle sounds. You might have lost some rounds, sure. You might have taken hits that left you gasping for air. You might have made mistakes so big they haunt you in the quiet hours of the night. You might have trusted people who betrayed you, believed in opportunities that disappeared, risked your heart only to watch it break. But you're still here, still standing. And that means the fight isn't finished. What you lost does not cancel what's ahead. One chapter closing doesn't mean the book is over. Sometimes it's just the plot twist you needed to set the stage for a comeback story so powerful, people will tell it long after you're gone. You see, life has a way of testing you, of seeing how badly you want it. Dreams don't come to those who are casually interested. They come to those who decide that quitting is not an option, no matter how long it takes, no matter how rough the road gets. Think of a boxer in the ring, beaten and bleeding, vision blurred but heart still pounding. As long as he refuses to stay down, he's still a threat. That's how life views you. Every time you get back up after failure, after disappointment, after heartbreak, you terrify every force that tried to stop you, because you're proving that resilience is more powerful than any setback. It's not over until you win, because even the darkest nights have a morning. No season of pain, no period of struggle, no stretch of loneliness lasts forever. The sun always rises, and when it does, it rises for you. There's a saying that tough times don't last, but tough people do. And you, whether you realize it yet or not, were built tougher than you think. The fact that you've survived what was meant to destroy you is proof that there's still a victory with your name on it. You have to remember that every person you admire, every icon you respect, every success story you've heard about, none of them made it without setbacks. None of them had a flawless path. They fell. They failed. They were laughed at, counted out, overlooked. But they understood one thing. It's not over until you win. They knew that temporary defeat isn't permanent failure. They realized that what you do after a loss defines your destiny more than the loss itself. A fall is only fatal if you refuse to rise. Even nature knows this law. A seed must first be buried in dirt before it can grow. The darkness isn't its death. It's its preparation. The crushing weight of the soil, the absence of light, the pressure of the earth, all of it necessary to birth roots that anchor it and a stem that will one day reach for the sky. If a seed gave up in the soil, we'd have no trees, no flowers, no food, no forests. But nature doesn't quit in the dark, and neither should you. Let me tell you something as clear as the daylight you woke up to this morning. You are not finished yet. Your story is still unfolding. The ink has not dried on your destiny. The world hasn't seen the best of you. You might be bruised, you might be battered, scarred, you might be walking with a limp from the storms you've endured. But hear me. The fact that you're still breathing is proof that purpose is still calling your name. There is still a chapter yet to be written, a door yet to be opened, a moment that will shift everything in your favor. And you owe it to yourself to live long enough to witness it. Stop letting temporary defeats convince you of a permanent end. Stop letting moments of doubt define the masterpiece you're building. As Les Brown once said, it's not over until I win. And I dare you to adopt that mindset right now. Look at every closed door, every failed plan, every disappointment, and say to it boldly, it's not over until I win. Because winners aren't the ones who never lost. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. You have to develop the kind of unshakable, untouchable, unstoppable resilience that says, no matter how many times life knocks me down, I will rise. And when I rise stronger. I rise wiser. I rise better. The pressure didn't break me, it built me. The storm didn't drown me, it cleansed me. The setback didn't end me, it rerouted me to something greater. As the great Eric Thomas declared, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And the question you need to ask yourself is, how bad do you want it? Are you willing to bleed for it? To cry for it? To fight for it when nobody's watching? Because real greatness isn't built in the light. It's forged in the dark. Every pain you felt, every tear you've shed, every lonely night you've endured was not wasted. It was preparing you, shaping you, stretching you, so when your moment comes, and you'll be ready. You'll have the character to sustain what you prayed for. You'll have the wisdom to navigate the rooms you once felt unqualified to enter, because destiny doesn't show up unannounced. It arrives after you've survived the very seasons you thought would destroy you. Your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow. Jim Rohn said it, and he was right. Today is your opportunity. Today is your moment to rise up, to decide that you will not let the weight of what you've been through crush the hope of what's ahead. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for people to understand you. Don't wait for the approval of crowds who have no idea what it took for you to still be standing. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Remember what Dr. Myles Munroe said. The wealthiest place on earth is not the oil fields of the Middle East or the diamond mines of Africa. It's the graveyard. There lie buried the dreams that were never pursued, the books never written, the businesses never started, the songs never sung. And if you're going to leave anything behind on this earth, don't let it be your potential. Don't let it be your purpose. Don't let it be your untapped greatness. Leave empty. Pour it all out. Run your race, not with hesitation, but with the fire of someone who knows they were built for more. So now, stand tall. Lift your head. Dry your tears. Square your shoulders. And walk forward like the champion you were born to be. The enemy should have taken you out when he had the chance, because now you've decided that this fight isn't over. And until you breathe your last, until your final heartbeat, until your story's final sentence, you will declare with authority, it's not over until I win. People might count you out. Let them. People might write your ending. Let them. Because what they don't know is that you're still writing, that you're still learning, still growing, still preparing for the win. And sometimes the win isn't even about trophies or applause or headlines. Sometimes the win is your peace. Sometimes the win is knowing you didn't quit on yourself when it would have been easier to surrender. Sometimes the win is surviving the season that was sent to break you. There's a power inside you that hasn't even been activated yet because life is waiting to see if you'll endure long enough to unlock it. Every delay, every denial, every defeat is not meant to stop you, but to sharpen you, to test the depth of your hunger, the size of your fight, the resilience of your spirit. The ones who win aren't always the fastest, the smartest, or the most talented. They're the ones who refuse to give up. They outlast the storm. They outfight the fear. They outwork the odds. They wake up one more time than they fell down. It's not over until you win. And you define what winning looks like for you. For some, it's a position. For others, it's a healed heart. For some, it's freedom from addiction. For others, it's peace in their soul. Whatever your battle, whatever your vision of victory, hold the line. Fight the fight. Stay in the ring. Because the enemy only wins when you decide to stop swinging. And until you do, this is still your story to write.